Welcome back to another episode of Adjuster Hour. I'm your host, Natalie Ariave, and today we're diving into one of my favorite intersections in this industry, where engineering meets claims. This episode is sponsored by Specialty Adjusting International, a leader in specialty appraisals, dispute resolution, and daily and catastrophic claims. So, joining me is someone who truly bridges the gap, Waseem Ansari, professional engineer, the CEO of QED Global Solutions. Waseem is a licensed professional engineer with extensive experience in both structural and civil engineering, and he spent his career helping insurance carriers, adjusters, and attorneys make sense of complex property losses. From understanding the true cause of damage to advising on repairs, construction standards, and claim accuracy, Waseem has built a reputation for being the go-to expert when things get complicated. So today we're going to talk about what adjusters can learn from an engineer's perspective, how to better interpret damage reports, and how both sides can collaborate to reach the right outcome faster and more accurately. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's welcome Waseem Ansari to Adjuster Hour. Waseem, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Nat, for the wonderful introduction and for having me today. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, so please introduce your company, QED Global Solutions, and explain how you came up with that name for us.
Absolutely. So, QED Global is a forensic engineering firm, and we do structural, electrical, and mechanical forensic investigations. And QED, and a lot of people ask me that, and I love it when they do. But what QED stands for is a Latin phrase that is quod erat demonstratum, which means in Latin, the point that was initially intended to be proven has been successfully demonstrated. And a lot of mathematicians back in the days would put the QED symbol, three dots or a triangle at the end of their proof, showing that this is the right answer. So we like to say that at the when we complete a report, this is to the QED standard. This is the right answer.
I love that. That's so. Did you just stumble upon that notion, or did you always know about that?
When I was in engineering school,
Mm,
uh, there were some really smart kids who would use that symbol, the three
mm.
dots. And I asked them one time, what is this? And then they explained it to me. I was like, wow, that sounds very smart and very fancy. And it just stuck with me all these years. So when I started my company, I said, whoa, this would be a good way to start it. Sometimes people are like, oh, wow, I know exactly what QED means. You're such a nerd. And I'm like, guilty, guilty as
Well,
charged.
yeah, that must have really resonated with you back then.
It did.
And
Yes.
then that's interesting that it came to fruition for you. So it
Yes.
was meant to be.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, thank you for sharing that with us. So let's just jump right in. We have some fantastic questions. I would like to let the audience know when you jump on, say hello, let us know where you're from, and please ask questions. We thrive on questions from the audience, so please don't be shy. Um, but our first question, what led you to move from an engineering consulting track into the claims consulting work?
That's a really good question. So, um, before I was doing claims consulting work, I was doing engineering consulting work in the oil and gas industry. And what made me make a switch was that I realized after a couple of years of doing it that I'm a people person. I like talking to new people, new faces. I like traveling. I like looking at new things. And in my previous role, I was doing the same thing every day. I knew the same clients. I knew the same people. I met literally nobody new for at least 3 to 5 years. And it got to the point where I was like, do I need to leave engineering because I'm not really a sit at desk sort of guy and not meet anyone new. So that's when I stumbled into forensic engineering. It's been a little over 10 years now, and I love it. You know, meet new people every day. I see new things. Sometimes I wonder, oh, wow, they're paying me to do this. This is something I'll do for free.
Well, that means you're on the right track if you're willing to do it for free.
Yeah.
So was it scary making that jump over?
Luckily, in the previous role that I had, I was doing a lot of inspections, but they
Mm,
were just all in one location. and it was not so hard because there was a lot of transfer of knowledge, and I was just looking at something. Not, at the time the switch was, instead of looking at a petrochemical facility, I'm looking at a building. You know,
Hmm. Okay.
and in that sense, it wasn't too much of a switch. It was all new terminology, so basically have to learn a new book of words, but the
Yeah.
reasoning was the same, and uh, looking for things was the same.
Okay. So yeah, not too scary, just a different ballpark, I guess, just a little
Mhm.
bit different shift in that technical expertise. So, as someone who straddles the technical expert in the adjuster claims world, how do you handle the tension between detailed engineering assessment and the need to expedite claims resolutions?
I love that question because every claims person, every forensic engineer probably gets in this crossroad at least
Mhm,
once a year. The way I handle it, and the way we coach our whole team to handle it, is first and foremost communication.
mhm,
That can help you in these tight pinches. Communicate with your client. We're going to be late. This is our ETA. If they ask for status update, give it to them quickly. Um, you can use technology to expedite certain things, and you should, in those things that are repetitive. The technology can do great wonders in terms of uh, keeping the quality up, and
mhm,
for repetitive tasks. I would like to add, however, that you know I'm always focused on quality. The quality will never go down in any of the investigation that I do, in any of the reports that I pump out, no matter how busy we are. However, um, when you're in the field, the thoroughness of your investigation should also not decline, no matter how busy you are. Do
mhm,
a full inspection, uncover every rock, go in the attic, take as much time as you want. But when it comes time to report writing, you can focus on a quality product and just make, instead of the report being 200 pages, it can be 75 pages, but the quality is still there. So there's
mhm.
little tricks of the trade that you can learn over the years. And but at the end of the day, if you focus on a quality work product, that'll never fail you, no matter how busy you are.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, you have to have that quality because you're only as good as your work product, right?
Exactly.
And you don't want to ever rush through a claim, no matter how urgent it is, because you don't want to risk losing that quality and losing that client.
Exactly. And it comes from experience. So we all make mistakes. I've made the mistake before for pushing through reports that were not up to quality. And trust me, I heard about it instantly. So I haven't made that mistake many times, just a few
Mhm.
times in my career, but I've
Of
learned.
course, of
I
course.
didn't forget it. And
Mhm.
you can test the water sometimes, but always make sure that quality is your backbone.
Okay. And yeah, just communicating with the client too. Understanding that it's urgent, but there's still steps that needs to be in play that you must follow.
Absolutely. If you lead with strong communication, uh, there's no negative expectations.
Mhm.
Always, you can always meet expectations if you focus on strong communication. If client gives you
Yeah.
an assignment and you say, I'm 3 weeks out from inspection,
Yeah.
now they have a choice. They can assign it to someone else, and that's fine. I mean,
Mhm.
they have needs too, so
Sure.
it's important
It's
to
a
be up.
balance.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe in.
being upfront. Yeah. No, I agree completely. We have a lot of chatter too. In our chat section, we have hi Sadie from Louisiana. I think you might remember Sadie from Adjuster Hour.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We have Jake from Ohio. Hey Jake, thanks for watching. Alejandro, he's always on. We love to see you.
Roger.
He loves to see engineers on this Adjuster Hour, which is great. And then we also have a comment, you're as good as your last report,
That's
which
true.
is 100% true. Your name is your product. We have to make sure that, yeah, we're only as good as our last report. So we know that you've had your journey through switching careers or switching, not careers, but switching lanes a little bit. So in your journey, was there a bridge project where both your engineering and claims instincts kind of collided, and what did you learn from it?
It's That's a good question. there are times, and this I don't think this only happens when you switch lanes. This
Hmm.
can happen anytime. There are times where your engineering judgment may be in conflict with,
Hmm.
say, a perhaps a desk examiner's opinion. At that point, uh, well, when that happens, you have to make sure that you've done your homework.
Hmm.
Do you feel comfortable with your opinion? And that's where communication also happens. Sometimes it's just a phone call. Hey, desk examiner, this is where I'm coming from. This is what could happen if this went to court. If I get deposed on this, I need to stay true to myself and need to be saying the truth. That's why I said these things.
Hmm.
Most of the time, every desk examiner that I've talked to over the years, I think I've only had that conversation 2 times over 10 years.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was just a matter of communicating, and they were fine
Mm-hmm.
afterwards. Um, However, it can happen, and the best way to combat that situation is to make sure you, one, did your homework, and two, able to communicate effectively
Hmm.
on the phone or via email. So um, a lot of the things that I say will always go back to communication
Hmm.
and being able to communicate effectively.
So, do you? This one's on the fly question, so I apologize.
That's fine.
Do you meet a lot of adjusters on site when you do your inspection, or do they not meet with you?
I would say maybe 15% of the time,
Hmm.
the independent adjusters are there, or the adjusters.
Do you prefer having the adjusters with you there to kind of communicate some of your findings and brainstorm,
100%.
or 100%? Okay.
I love it when the adjusters are there
Hmm.
because, one, they're sort of running interference with the building owner to where I can do my inspection quickly, and you know without any interruptions, which is great. And then two, I'm able to give a preliminary verbal on site as well, if I'm able to do that in that situation. And I always preferred, but I know adjusters are busy. Sometimes you have many
Hmm.
inspections in the day. You can't meet me on site. No issue.
Yeah,
We can all most of the time, 85% of the time, roll without it. But it has never hurt for them to be there.
sure. I prefer being on site with the engineer. One, selfishly, I like to learn from the engineer and see their process because it's only going to help my future claims handling to go, okay, this is what I'm seeing. We need an engineer to confirm this, or we need to take this a step further because maybe there is a coverage concern and we will need the engineer to back us up to support that coverage
Mm,
decision, the claim denial, or obviously claim acceptance. Obviously, we want to pay claims. We don't
absolutely.
like to deny claims,
Mhm.
but it helps us because you know what to look for and go, okay, this is what I can support. Here's my reasoning behind it, and then so forth. Do I need the engineer to go out to back us up and to put that stamp on the paper? So I would
Exactly.
highly recommend the adjusters spend the time, shadow the engineer, let them do their job, express your concerns, express what you found, and then let the engineer do their job, and then collaborate at the end and see kind of where you guys have landed, right, on the opinion and conclusion. So,
It's a really good point. I just like to add, uh, engineers are not the type of people you want to hang out with most of the time. They're uh, lack social skills and things like that. I get it. That's typically the case. But
mhm.
you know, if you just lower your standard for social skills, you know, you might get something out of it.
An engineer is going to engineer. That's what they do.
Yeah,
So my husband's an engineer. I completely understand it. He's a mechanical engineer at
that's
a chemical plant. So yeah, I
very
get it. Getcha. So when you're brought into as an engineer consultant on a claim, what are the biggest blind spots adjusters often have or like are they miss?
I like that question, and it's a bit um, sort of a bit unfair question to the adjuster because most of the time when I see the photo sheets, they've done
Hmm.
a good job.
Oh yeah.
They've done the interior, the attic, the exterior, I mean, they've inspected everything. The reason we find more stuff is that we're coming after you guys
Hmm.
and we've seen your photo sheet. So we already know what you looked at. A good engineer will be like, okay, they've already looked at all these things. I need to take it a step further and do my assessment. So anytime someone comes after you, they're probably going to find more things. If you went to like, for example, we're doing a project for a builder that's building a really big house from start to finish. We're doing inspections. Every time we go there, we've done 7 inspections so far. We're finding new stuff that we didn't find before.
Hmm.
So I say, but with that being said, what I like to say is take your time in the investigation.
Hmm.
If you're late to your next one, just communicate with the building owner. I'm running late.
Hmm.
My one before you took extra time.
Hmm.
And if your last one you need to reschedule to the next morning, that's fine. I mean,
Hmm.
the whole world understands. As long as you communicate, as soon as you find out, just roll it over. Take your time in the investigation. Look everywhere. Sometimes it's hard to get to places.
Hmm.
Uh, try to. And if you physically cannot, maybe invest in some sort of cameras that will allow you to get you in tight spaces in the attic. Always be well equipped in terms of equipment and technology. That always helps. But really take your time and always be curious in these
Hmm.
investigations. Just okay, this is the damage. How did it happen? Let me uncover every rock. And
Hmm.
I think if you do those things, you won't miss a whole lot. I was doing a tree impact claim where there was quite a few ceiling joists that were broken, and I thought I caught them all. And I was, inspecting it. I was like, okay, this was recently, but there was like a box in my view where it was blocking a ceiling joist, and I went on the other side, and something told me to look from a different angle, and I caught another ceiling joist I had broken. So I was proud of it, but it, I think it goes to being curious and
Hmm.
taking your time.
I love that. We should all be curious and take our time on inspections. You never know what you're going to find if you
Absolutely.
don't look. But
Absolutely.
um, no, I love that. And set yourself apart, right? Be the adjuster that's known for taking their time, doing a thorough investigation. We obviously we're not trying to put engineers out of business. We always need the engineer, but do a thorough job to where the client feels confident in what you've done. So, do we need an engineer? Let's assess this a little bit further. We have lots of people jumping on. I would love to say hello to Holly from Texas. We have Richard, aka Brandon, from South Carolina. Oh, my coworker Melanie from Florida. She's with specialty. And
Yes.
then we have hi Natalie. I'm not trying to distract you, but I love all your decorations in the background. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. So let's move on a little bit. So how do you when you're writing your reports, how do you structure engineering reports so they're useful not just to technical peers but to the claims folks, attorneys, and then even the policyholder who may get a chance to read that report?
uh, I love that question because it goes back to communication. Communication is not just verbal, but it's also written. Uh,
Hmm.
I think when you're writing these engineering reports, uh, what I strive to do is use language that most people would understand.
Hmm.
I can say that this beam bifurcated, but I could also say the beam cracked.
Yeah, that.
Uh, I had an engineer early on use bifurcated, and I had to Google it. I was like, "Well, what is that?" I was like, and then I asked him. I was like, use a word choice that's appropriate for the
Hmm.
reader. It doesn't take anything away from your engineering degree. You're still the smartest person in the world. I get it, but
Hmm.
use word choice appropriately. And the other thing is be efficient with your words. A lot of people reading the reports, they only have maybe a minute or two to read your summary.
Hmm.
If it's word intensive, if it's heavy on, you know, really long summary, if you have a lot of fluff in there, uh, no, just keep it short. They only have 2 minutes. If you, what I'd like to do is add the fluff later in the report. Additional evaluation analysis. You can put all of that in the evaluation summary in the back. You can attach as many photos as you want. You can attach as many appendices as you want. But the executive summary, keep it short, keep it efficient. Your clients will love you for it.
Yeah, when we're reading reports, because I'm on the adjuster side, when we're reading reports, we look for that summary first and foremost, and we
Mhm.
copy and paste that sucker in our report. And that is the meat, that's the meat right there that we need. So having that structured summary to the point, very, very concise, short, sweet, but also having like a little bit of punch to it to where I don't have to go through all the fluff to fully understand the summary.
Exactly.
I think that's really important. But after reading the summary, if I have additional questions, having the AKA fluff later in the report helps me understand, okay, this is why the engineer has come to this conclusion and help me understand the process too.
Absolutely. And question for you, Nat: how long do you normally spend reviewing a report, engineering report? Don't be shy.
No, no, a few minutes, less than 5 minutes. I want to read it. I want to get to the point. Now, if it's a very complex loss, I'm going to take my time and go through every little detail. And I'm also going to cross-reference um, our report and go, what have we already addressed? And then what does the adjuster need to address moving forward? If we do have covered damage based on your report, okay, what does the adjuster need to add to the estimate? And then that's a whole nother deal. That's going to take more time. But that's the whole point of getting the engineer's report is to go, okay, what can we add to our estimate to go ahead and get this claim to, conclusion. So
Makes sense.
it just depends. But yeah, we all have short attention spans. And
Absolutely.
I've been guilty in the past when I was in the field and then we get the engineer's report in. I'll look at that summary and go copy and paste it and go, here's the conclusions from the engineer. I mean, I think we've all been guilty of just, you know, copying and pasting those
I
conclusions.
think it's like how you said, if it's a
Mm.
standard loss, that technique is there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
As forensic engineers, we should put what you need in the executive summary. Now, if
Mhm.
it's a complex loss, then maybe the executive summary goes over 2 page. I mean, over one page
Yeah.
becomes two
Yeah.
pages, and that's fine too. But really, everything should be in the executive summary for you guys to,
Mhm.
copy paste and roll with it.
It's very helpful. It's very helpful. And then it gives us bullet points. Okay, what do we need to look at in bite-sized chunks too? So we're
Absolutely.
not getting the whole report kind of thrown at us. We can kind of get it in bite sizes. So
Exactly.
all
100%.
good things. So, in your experience, Waseem, what differentiates a resistant claim where like you'll fight kind of tooth and nail on causation versus one where there's like an easy path is the correct path is correct. So,
Uh, so what differentiates for us is that most of our projects we do is just the one report.
mhm,
You send it in, and we're thorough in our investigation and reporting to where we feel like we address everything. But there are sometimes a couple times in the year where some projects that come up with more questions that
mhm,
building owners asking for this now, which is something they didn't ask for in the beginning. Oh, what about the R value on the insulation
mhm,
board? It got affected. Oh, well, you didn't bring it up last time. So, okay, let's go out, maybe do another inspection. Here's another supplemental.
mhm,
Um, I feel like when the insured doesn't bring up all the concerns in the very beginning,
mhm.
it makes it for sort of a messy process. And
Okay.
in some cases, it's understandable, right? So, like if it's like a fire loss in the business, you may not see the damage right away. And you're like, okay, well, I didn't see it until they removed the debris. Now I see it. Oh, yeah, that's justifiable additional
Mhm,
questions. But what does help in even those losses, we did a large fire in Houston, and the field adjuster on site, his name was Ram, and there was a public adjuster involved, but he was also there, and the public adjuster was missing things like left and right. But the independent adjuster was like, oh, have you considered the ducts? There's smoke in the ducts. Have you considered this thing? And public adjuster was like, oh wow, thanks for telling me. And it became more of like a collaboration. And there was only 2 inspections needed, but it was such a large loss. I was thinking, maybe 3 or 4 inspections. But honestly, it's always best when the right all the concerns are communicated up front. That makes
Hmm.
an easy path. Now, when you're asking two different, three different things every time, then it becomes like a sort of a non-efficient process.
Sure, sure. Have you ever had, so we kind of talked about it in the beginning, but have you ever had someone just either the policyholder or the examiner, like you said, there was like two times where it happened, but someone that was just adamant that that you were just straight up you're wrong. Has that ever happened where you had someone kind of fight it because maybe it was a claim denial and they didn't want it to be a denial?
Right. So we don't make any opinions on site.
Okay.
We don't get into that, and there's
Mhm.
actually legal reasons as an engineer, as a ethics reasons why
I
we
love how you're
shouldn't.
raising you're raising your hand.
I'm
You're
like,
like, I ain't doing
I'm not fighting anyone on this one, right? Um, there's ethical reasons why as engineers we
Mhm.
shouldn't be making opinions on site, and what it boils
Yeah.
down to is doing the analysis and reporting to your client first. There's an ethics compliance issue there, and
Okay.
that's why we don't do it, and it's the similar across all states. So verbally, I in person never get into arguments, but sometimes we get letters by the building owners representation. Okay, well, we disagree with you on this, this, and that. Maybe they hire a opposing engineer to
Mhm.
do a similar inspection. In those cases, we just receive the report. If there's any concessions that can be made, we make those concessions.
Mhm.
If what they say bring up makes sense, hey, okay, I
Mhm.
agree with you, no doubt.
Mhm.
But if there's some things we disagree with, we disagree with it.
Disagree.
And
Yeah.
sometimes the disagreement goes three supplementals in, and we've said the same things across each supplemental, and it gets to the point we which only happened one time actually,
Mhm.
just this earlier this year, and I told the client that we've answered the same question three different times. You've paid us three different times on
Mhm.
the same question. Uh, this doesn't feel right to make a fourth report and just
Yeah.
basically take your money. And I'm copy pasting at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feel
Yeah.
good doing this. But
Yeah.
if you want me to do it, I'll happily do it. But at
Mhm.
that point, the client was like, "Okay, no, we have everything we need. You've already said it three times. Yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
bringing it up, by the way." But because they're so busy and they
Mhm.
receive a request and they're like, "Okay, go ahead, Waseem, go ahead, answer it."
Mhm.
I get it, but they don't know that I'm billing every single time. Well, I mean, they do know, but
Yeah,
it
of
might
course.
be off their head, and
Mhm.
it is what it is. But
Sure, sure. Well, we have a question from the audience from Alejandro. Wasim, I'm curious to know how you leverage AI in your engineering work. Do you use it for reporting, creating photo logs, or maybe even something else? I'd love to hear about it.
hey, Alejandro, it's been a while since we've seen you, so good to hear from you, buddy. Um, we don't use AI as much as perhaps other companies use it. Um, I found that it's been helpful in the research side, to where if we're inspecting something that is really complex and we have nowhere to start, it's a good way to get started.
Mhm.
And in terms of research, I'm really impressed with AI, how it can um, do its research, save you lots of time. I know I did one vibration study where years ago before AI, I built 8 hours of research to it because it took me a long time to do this research. If I did the same project now with AI, I think I'd probably build 1 or 2 hours. Um, you still have to double check everything AI does. It gets
Mhm.
stuff wrong,
Yes.
but it really reduces the research time below. And if anything, I feel like AI is helping the software programmers. So we can be more
Mhm.
efficient as a company, obviously, right? Reporting, photo logs, whatever. But many times it's not an AI solution; it's a software solution. But the software companies will use AI to uh, make the software that much quicker. I mean, they'll instead of billing 100 hours for software development, maybe they're billing 10 hours. So it's seamless. A lot of times AI is seamless. There may not be an AI application in your company right now, but you're still using it in ways that is invisible. And I don't know if I
Mhm.
answered that question very much, but that's my thoughts right now.
Yeah, I actually like going back to what you said about using AI to find a pathway, like create a pathway for your investigation. I've actually done that recently. I've handled hundreds of HVAC claims, related claims, but I still struggle sometimes with the technical terms and like the different components. It's just being vulnerable. I struggle with that and I have to look at a diagram still and kind of like get that. But the other day we had a claim come through and it was HVAC related. And so I asked AI what could be leaking, what components could be leaking on this, HVAC system or inside unit or whatever I asked. And it came back and it had like two or three options where it could be leaking. It's like, please check this, this, and this. So I was able to tell the adjuster, hey, just triple check these items. And it helped get a game plan, and you could do that on, I don't know, on anything, I guess. Maybe like a certain, I don't know, appliance. You can kind of get an idea of what to look for.
It's
Right.
it's great. I mean, you can ask it a lot of things,
Hmm.
and it gives really good answers that look right. I mean, double check everything, I guess. But
Yeah.
like I said, it's a good starting point, and I mean, it's here to stay. It basically just replaced the Google search engine for everybody,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then other people are using AI in other ways too. So,
Yeah,
um,
I definitely go to my chat GPT first now. I'm starting to really like it. I was reluctant to use it at first
yeah,
because you just get, I don't know, weirded out by it. But now it's learned so much about me that this is off topic, but I've actually asked my chatbot what they think about me. As what have you learned about me from our interactions?
yeah,
And it came back. I wish I had it in front of me, but it came back and it said, you're resilient, you have grit, you work hard with your adjuster hour, you're proud of it, just stuff like that. Like it knew, and it was flipping spot on. And it gave me some compliments. I was like, oh wow, well
I
thank you. I should
know.
ask you more often.
Honestly, speaking which, ChatGPT is a
Yeah,
pleasure to talk to. I mean,
yeah.
even just socially, I mean, I mean,
Mhm.
it's not really social, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's like almost like a friend in some ways. So
Yes,
it's kind of, yeah, it's not unheard of. Yeah, that's cool. I do like that.
yeah. And I did ask it in return. I said, what can I improve on? And it
Mhm.
gave me things to improve on, like maybe you handle too much, maybe you do too much. Yeah, and he or she, I don't know, it was right that I do do too much stuff.
No, no,
But right, I thought it was really cool that it learns about you and it learns about your processes
exactly.
so it can better serve you.
It
So
and it remembers like what you
yes.
set up 3 months ago. It remembers. I was like, whoa, you still remember that? That's insane. So
Exactly. And if you teach it, okay, I'm an insurance adjuster. This is what I do for a living. This is my role. This is my duty. This is what I have to look for when I go out to inspect. Tell it what you do. And then when you go to ask the questions, like, oh, I'm inspecting I don't know, as basic as a roof, what should I look for? Where could it be leaking? And it could tell you the different vents, components, things like that. But the more you tell it and explain about what you're doing, the better answers you're going to get moving forward. So
absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
definitely a tool to use. But
Hmm.
enough about all that. I could talk about that for a while. So let's go. Let's talk about. We kind of talked about that already. Your quality. So what metrics or KPIs do you monitor or wish more in the industry monitored to measure your engineering effectiveness in claims? So what are those kind of metrics?
So we measure time on site,
Hmm.
uh,
Okay.
time to report completion. We also measure time that it takes to set the inspection, reach out to the insured. We monitor those closely because those are things everyone wants and needs, and
Hmm.
It's helpful when you finish a report quickly rather than later, and especially when it comes to if the results of our study leads to denying a claim, you
Mhm.
as the homeowner, I would want to know sooner than later. I wouldn't want to wait six
Sure,
weeks and
of
then get a
course.
denial. It's like you could have denied it the first week, right? So
Mhm.
timeliness is very important. Those are the things we look at. What I was always curious about, and there was this one carrier, I forget the name. Um, they were monitoring this sort of closely. They were monitoring the customer service attitude of the engineer when they arrived on site,
Mm.
interactions with the building owner. So if you're like a total square and you're
Mhm.
abrasive and you're just like, I'm just here to take my photos, well, they asked the building owner for a rating on the engineer, and if you get like
Mm.
5 out of 10, I mean they're like, oh, this guy's sort of an abrasive guy. I would love to know, is being an abrasive person leads to more litigated files for the carrier.
Mm. Mhm.
Is being a little bit more customer service oriented
Sure.
leads to less litigated files. I mean, my gut tells me if you have good solid communication, you're a personable person on site, it should be less than if you're an abrasive person. But um, that is something I wish the industry um, monitored a little closely, because after all, they're your insureds. You don't want them to be treated poorly, and
Mhm.
many times, we're busy, and sometimes I've seen it where engineers might be more abrasive than they need to be. I'm just here to collect information and no small talk, no anything. We don't have an unlimited amount of time on site too, but there is a you know professional politeness where you're like, okay, I'm here to collect this, and I'm here to do that. I'll listen to all of your concerns. I can't make any opinions, but I'm here to listen to everything. I'll document
Mhm.
your concerns.
Do you have transparency with those KPIs? Like, do you get feedback on those? On the last one you said, the attitude, the customer satisfaction aspect of it. Do you ever get to have that feedback and the results of that, or?
Like I said, we don't work with that carrier just yet.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but when we were going back and forth, they actually
Mhm.
sent the spread. This is what we look at, and it looked like it was going to be a good fit.
Wow.
But I think they forgot about us, and we
Yeah.
got so many new clients that it fell through the cracks. Speaking of which, I should probably reach out to them at some point. But um, but yes, so they were tracking it to where they
Mhm.
give the feedback as the forensic engineering provider. They'll be like, okay,
That's awesome.
your guys scored this much on professionalism. You have some bad actors, whatever. I thought it was really cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm wondering how now I feel kind of silly. I'm wondering how often that happens in the adjusting world where they are asking, the insured. Because when I was a desk examiner, I never asked one time, "How was your adjuster?" I knew if I heard something, if I heard something, it was either great, a compliment, or maybe, the other adjusting firm did something, not specialty. It's when I was
Right.
a claims examiner. But I'm wondering now, I would love to get that feedback on, okay, that customer service aspect, because sometimes you only hear if somebody messes up or something, or somebody was late, or adjuster didn't call and they showed up late and they, never gave, again, the community comes back to the communication point. But luckily I haven't had any complaints yet at specialty. Everything's been really, really good. Our adjusters are really great. So it's been fun working with them. But yeah, having that feedback. But I would also like to tell the adjusting world, the adjusters, people talk. We all know about the bad eggs, the bad adjuster eggs. So if you conduct yourself in a way that's rude, you're rude to the insured, um, you don't show up at all. We usually hear, you'll definitely hear about that one. But keep that in mind, and keep that in mind too when you're interacting with people on the internet, like the Facebook groups, that people are watching you that could be potentially giving you claims. And that's all feedback we need is when we see on some of these sites, they either get political, they talk about current events maybe in a bad light, things like that. People are still watching. and still absorbing that. And you don't want your insured to see that too. What if they look you up on Facebook and they kind of see something that's negative or concerning? So just conduct yourself like you're always being looked at, because you're like a business essentially. So just as the engineering goes too, you have your own business, you have to conduct yourself in a certain light and get that feedback. So I love
Absolutely.
that.
I just like to add, it's a small industry.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yep.
knows each other. I had one adjuster, and he was being abrasive to everybody on site. Maybe he was having a bad day. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even to me, and I was, not a big deal because I was just there to do my expert investigation and move on. But the next day, I was talking to another good buddy friend of mine who's an adjuster, and topic came up or something about this abrasive adjuster, and he asked, "What's his name?" And I told him his name, and these are two people from two different states, and he was like, "I know that guy
Mm,
has a bad attitude," and I was like,
mm.
I mean, uh,
It's
everyone.
amazing. It's truly amazing how small a world adjusting can be, but it gets around fast. So
Mhm,
I
yeah,
definitely understand that.
absolutely.
So being the CEO, how do you allocate resources between the field work, doing your inspections versus your research, and then if you have to do some training and your tech tools, how do you allocate resources between the two?
That's a good question, and it just goes down to two words: operating budget. We set an operating budget at the beginning of the year. This is the money that we apply to technology. This is for inspections, travel, all that good stuff. And
Hmm.
at the end of the year, I mean, quarterly, monthly, we see, okay, where are we falling through? Oh, we have some more money for tech. We can purchase
Hmm.
more tech. I think the what's that expression they say? uh, the finish line begins with the end in mind. It's something like that.
Hmm.
Um, and that's the way I think. You
Hmm.
start at the beginning of the year, plan for, even if you're a one man show or an adjuster. Or I have $300 per year to allocate for new technology. Some of that might go to waste. You might investigate a technology where you're like, oh, it didn't work, didn't make anything more efficient, didn't make anything more timeliness. I just lost $300. No big deal. Don't lose sleep over it.
Hmm.
That was your budget for the year. Try again next year. Maybe you invest in a drone. Maybe you invest in different kind of camera.
Hmm.
Whatever. You might make leaps of efficiency based on the things you try. It's just like investigating. Uncover every rock. Sometimes you need to pay money, unfortunately, to uncover a rock, but you never know what's waiting on the other side.
Sure. No, I love that. So give us a tip. So for adjusters or claim professionals wanting to level up their technical fluency, which steps would you advise?
Uh, to me, it goes down to attitude.
Attitude. Yeah.
I think if you have the right attitude, you can attract solid mentors in the field that
Hmm.
have gained all this experience, all this technical knowledge. You can try to gain it yourself, no doubt, and you should. But just remember, you have a bandwidth for technical knowledge. You still have
Hmm.
to get back to being billable and things. There's only so many hours a day you can learn something new. But if you have 5 to 10 mentors or technical people you can call on, lifelines,
Hmm.
now with the all 10 of you guys, there's nothing you can't solve. There's nothing you don't already know.
Hmm.
So that goes even for engineers. So I've got people speed dial that I can call anytime for any questions I have. And the way I structure the call is I start with humility. I call them and I say, "Hey, Dara, I'm stupid. You're the smartest person in the world." And then she says, "What's your question?" In 3 minutes, I've got the answer. It's
Yeah.
fast. You don't have to look up anything. Well, you still have to look up and double check,
Yeah.
but you didn't waste their time. They didn't waste your time. It's fine. But to build the relationship, I feel it's more efficient, faster, more accurate way to gain that technical knowledge, and
Hmm.
it just speaks highly of your attitude at the end of the day. Um, you're a team player. You've got a team behind you, and um, there's nothing you can't
Yeah.
solve at that point.
I love that, because I speak about this all the time. I'm a broken record. You need to have mentors in your life throughout your life, not just in the beginning when you don't know anything and you're trying to gather all the, all the knowledge up. We continuously learn, we evolve. So as you grow, so should your mentors,
Exactly.
and maybe you outgrow a mentor.
That's right.
Well, let's let's find a new one. Let's let's step into that uncomfortable zone and get to know people and have those mentors because they're there. They want to. People love to talk about things. They love it. I love it. That's why I have the show. I can talk about things all day. Um, but people want to talk about what they know too, and they're there. You just got to find them.
Absolutely, 100%. And I just like to add that you can have more than one mentor. I used to have this idea that I'm going to find the perfect mentor. I'm only going to listen to him or her,
Mhm.
and they'll know everything. It'll just be like a awesome relationship. That perfect person does not exist.
No,
You can 5, 10 mentors. If you don't want to call them a mentor, that's fine too. You can call them a lifeline. Just
I like that.
but cultivate those relationships, and it'll only serve you more and help the next person in line. Like
Mhm.
Nat said, people want to help, and if
Mhm.
that is true, most people, they want to help. They just you just need to cultivate that relationship.
Yeah, I there's a quote I really like, and I may have mentioned it before, but it's basically it's surround yourself with people who are smarter than you know, and you're going to grow from that. So I guess it's the same concept as surrounding
Indeed.
yourself with those people, and it's okay to not be the smartest person in the room. That means you're doing something right if you're challenging yourself and you're in those,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely, absolutely. And I start off the conversation with I'm an idiot, and then I ask the question. When you say that, people are like,
Mhm.
okay, this guy's guard is down.
Yeah, I
I
love
can
that.
I can just
Mhm.
release the information, instead of like being kind of like, oh, who's smarter or this or that. Well, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
yeah,
Yeah,
playing this internal struggle of who knows, yeah, who's smarter, who knows the most. But
definitely.
well, let's talk about what's one myth or misconception in claims from your engineering lens. Do you you wish to debunk publicly? So a myth or misconception in claims from your end that you wish to debunk.
Um, I don't know if I could debunk it because, but do I wish I could? Yes, that would be good. I mean, I think the common misconception is that when carriers hire engineers, they're already biased from the get go.
Oh, yep,
Uh,
yep.
they're they'll just say whatever they want to for the carrier's benefit. Um, I've been through over 40 depositions. I've been through trials. Uh, I've been through the ringer. I would never say something that's not truthful that I don't think, because it
Yeah.
makes it so much harder to defend. Uh,
Hmm.
People sniff up on that. These attorneys, they're professionally trained to sniff up when you're not saying the truth or what you do not feel is the truth. It's not
Yeah.
worth it. It's absolutely not worth it. I would rather argue with a claims manager and say, "Look, this is not defensible in court.
Mhm.
Um, I I have to stay true to what is my opinion. I need to be an advocate for my opinion. Um, this is not my opinion. And does that happen often? No, it doesn't. That conversation does not happen often, but because most of the time, desk examiners, they don't care one outcome or the other. They really
No.
don't. I've talked to so many of them over the years. They're just like, you're the expert. Just tell me your opinion.
Hmm.
And if I have any questions, I'll call you and ask. But it's not like an abrasive conversation. They're just trying to learn more, and and us trying to teach more. It's more of like that relationship. So I do like that. But if it ever comes to the point where I'm arguing about something, I just go point towards it. I need to be an advocate of my opinion in the highest level, and that's the court level. And I need to be able to defend my opinion. It needs to be natural. It needs to be authentic. It needs to be the truth that I believe is the truth. And I take it, I take it from there, and it comes down to communication, being able to communicate that effectively.
Hmm. Yeah. I I would hear that in the field that if I recommended, okay, I see an issue. I'm out in the field. I see an issue that I can anticipate that it needs an engineer on, and if I relay that to the insured, Mr. and Mrs. Insured, it looks like I'm gonna have to recommend an engineer to look at X, Y, and Z, and then I get the eye roll, like, of course, it don't matter. It doesn't matter whatever you say. It's just gonna go with what the carrier wants, and that's not true. And it's hard to debunk. It's hard to kind of go through those waters of that skepticism.
Hmm.
Unless it works out in their favor, then it's fine. Everything's fine. But when it doesn't, it's maybe educating, making sure that that you're educating them on the why, where they can go, okay, a reasonable person, if you explain to them why, and they can connect those dots, it's going to go over more smoothly where they don't have those encroaching thoughts of conspiracy, conspiracy.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a it's a tough world to live in.
Hmm.
People are more skeptical of insurance companies. And
Yeah,
I feel like the role of the forensic engineer only works if we're unbiased.
of
If we're
course.
biased, what's the point?
Hmm.
Like none of this is all a sham, right? If
Yeah.
it doesn't work, um, but and that's what I lead. We're truth
Mhm.
seekers.
Yeah,
And
of
uh,
course.
we need to be advocates of our opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. So let's switch gears and ask some fun questions for you. We've been really technical and asked the tough questions, but okay, if you weren't working in claims or engineering, what's your fallback profession? What would you love to do?
Okay, I like this question, and I know the exact answer. I would be a police detective. You know, I love solving crimes. I feel like I'm
I
solving a
love that.
crime on a daily basis with forensic claims. But if I wasn't doing this, I'd love to solve crimes. As a kid, I grew up reading Sherlock Holmes, and I
Yeah.
read all the series. I loved it. In fact, I wanted
Mhm.
to be a police detective, but then I was like, well, engineering is more what's the word, practical. But then when I found out about forensic engineering, I was like, this is a perfect fit. I love solving mysteries.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's very similar in the terms of investigation and finding out the truth. When I was little, I wanted to be an FBI agent. I just was like,
Love it. Love it.
I'm gonna be an FBI agent, like, I'll go through all this stuff. Obviously, I'm not an FBI agent, nor has the FBI ever contacted me to be an agent and solve insurance disputes. But yeah, wouldn't it be so much fun? I say that, but then the first time I ever saw like a deceased person, I would probably faint and pass out, and like there ain't nothing I could do. But I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Honestly, I'd really liked your presentation last or earlier this year about fraud. I
Hmm.
learned a lot from it.
Oh, thank you.
It was really cool. So I think you would be a good FBI agent if you did
Oh
go down.
yeah,
Um, my
thank you.
first my first inspection was, I believe, during Hurricane Katrina, and I
Mhm.
was like so excited. I was over the moon, and I was like, okay, let me go inspect. I went inside this flooded house, and I had like a big smile on my face and everything. And the insured was this elderly man. He was like crying, like in his hands,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
uh, like I was excited to get started in this industry, but I was kind of like, I need to switch gears real fast because this is real. Like,
Yeah.
this somebody's life just torn apart. It's not fun and games, and
Mhm.
so I don't know what the
Brought
question was, but you know,
you, no, it brought you back to reality a little bit.
it
Whoa,
did.
this is real. This is what I'm getting into. Wow,
Exactly.
that was your first project was back in 2005. That was your first like on your own getting it done?
Um, no, actually, no, it wasn't 2005. I did say Katrina. No, I meant like, I think it was one of the other flood events in the
Okay.
local, like, Houston area. I forget. It was in like around 20,
Oh, okay.
20, and I think it was like a major flood event during that
Oh
time.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a big deal when, you're excited to get started. It's essentially it's fun, right? Your job is fun and you want to be there. That's kind of I think that's how adjusters feel too. We're excited to get started. Then you show up to a catastrophe and you're like, oh, this is not all fun and games. This is something serious and heavy. So,
Exactly. Yes, and maybe it's not always heavy. Sometimes
mhm,
basic win and hell claim, but it really goes down to the people aspect of it.
mhm,
Verbal and nonverbal communication, making sure that it's appropriate. We do investigation of high net worth houses as well, and
mhm,
it's a different communication with really high net worth individuals than it is uh, you know, average. And it's slight. It's a slight difference, but it, they sort of expect the white glove treatment. The
mhm.
um, being a little bit more professional, a little bit more softer. And it all comes down to appropriate communication.
Yeah.
If you're meeting a rough and tough contractor, I it's a different communication than if you're meeting someone worth $20 million. It's
Mhm.
night and day, and it's fine. It's no big deal. But
Yeah. Oh, there we go. We lost you for a second, but here you
yeah,
are. We got
I
you
lost
back.
myself for a second. I don't know what happened, but
Well, no, let me ask you this question, because I think it's really fun. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be? What would you tell yourself?
uh, I like that. I like that one. So my first job out of college, my first review came
Mhm.
from my boss. He was a very smart person. I didn't like him, but he was very smart. And he was like, Waseem, you do everything almost 100% right, like 99% of the time. But the 1% of the time you mess up, you don't really fess up to it. You don't really
Oh.
accept it. And you get kind of defensive on it. But I mean, overall, you're doing things 99% right. So, I mean, you deserve more than deserve a spot on the team. But the one time you're not really holding yourself accountable. And I didn't like it at the time, the feedback.
Mhm,
I was just like, whatever. But as years went by and I became more mature, I think in my late 20s, early 30s, it really hit home. And I was like, uh, it's all about attitude,
mhm,
attitude is tested when the waters are rough. That's when it's tested. So if someone is going up to you and is like, "Hey, you messed up here, here, and here," and you instantly become defensive about it, that points to me towards a bad attitude. But if
mhm.
you own up to it, if you take accountability, guess what? The person will say, "This person has a great attitude." And it could be something small that you own up to, or it could be something big. It's like, I messed up. You're right. I messed up 100%.
Mhm,
I'll make it right, and I'll make it right in 2 days. Then you keep your word, and
mhm,
you keep your word because you're only as good as your word. That points towards a really good attitude. And I wish I had told myself early on, or I should thank my boss for telling me early on, but I was too stupid to listen, right? But um, I would have told myself early on that, look, attitude is everything.
mhm.
It makes people want to work with you, around you. And if you have good attitude, guess what? People will reward you. They'll reward you in more work. You'll never be not busy. I mean, you'll have more work than you know what to do with. And it's the
Yeah.
people with the good attitudes. That's how they get the work.
No,
Uh,
that's great.
that's what I've told myself. But I didn't tell myself, and I learned it. The different ways, years and years later. So,
That's
um,
okay. You still learned the lesson, you know? That's awesome.
for
Well,
sure.
Wasim, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insight. I think everyone watching can agree, hearing the claims process through an engineer's lens really gives us a new appreciation for the why behind what we see in the field. So, to our viewers, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Adjuster Hour. If you found value in today's conversation, make sure to like, share, tag another adjuster or engineer who would appreciate watching this. And you can connect with Wasim on LinkedIn and learn more about his work at QED Global Solutions. I'll have his link in the post, or if you go, you can see him as a speaker, and you can click that icon, and that's going to send you straight to his profile. So, and as always, if you're part of this amazing adjusting community and want to share your story or expertise on Adjuster Hour, reach out to me directly. We'd love to have you as a guest speaker. Please don't be intimidated. I would be flattered if you are, but don't be. Come on the show. Let's have a good time. And then until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and keep adjusting with purpose. See you all on the next Adjuster Hour. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.